And I believe that my mom was trying to pull me back in for another life. And for me, I believe this is my last life. I believe in past lives. And I believe this is my last life. This is my last time on earth. But if I went out giving up, I may have had to come back again. And I am not coming back to this place again. I'm so ready to get out of here. Whenever that time is. If it's months, a year, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, I'm not coming back. And I'll be ready to go whenever it is, but I'm not rushing myself out the door. I will be here as long as I can. But if my heart ever stops, if Yahweh turns my heart off, it is not getting turned back on. So that's the only thing that I need to protect against, is my heart being turned off in an untimely manner. And that's procedures. If something went wrong in the anesthesia, if something went wrong during a surgery, if I had a bleed out, those are all things that could stop my heart, and that's it for me. So when I went to get the temp catheter put in my neck, I resolved that I was going to stay awake throughout this entire surgery. It's a minor surgery. It's local anesthetic. They said I would be in a twilight sedation where I shouldn't remember anything, but I remember everything. I remember being wheeled into the room, the operating room, and there was music playing. And I remember 2 songs, Talking in Your Sleep by the Romantics and Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. They played during my surgery. My surgery was about 10 minutes. And I remember one of the most interesting things about that surgery was hearing the doctor doing my stitches. It sounded better than a Hollywood movie sound effect. And I told him I'd like to record his stitching technique someday. I don't know that guy's name. I didn't actually meet him. I met most of the people who did my procedures, but I didn't actually meet him. And if I did, I don't remember him. But I was in and out. My eyes were open the entire time, and I made it through procedure 1. Alive. And that was what mattered. Shortly after, they took me over to dialysis, and they wanted me to do an 1.5-hour dialysis. Dr. Murphin Dureski is the guy in charge of getting this started. And he just wants to see how well I tolerate it. And I asked what it's like, and they said, you don't really feel anything. But what I do remember feeling throughout the dialysis was a bunch of stuff going across my nose. Every nasty, horrible thing that I had experienced over the last week would taste. My vomiting stuff, I smelt it go across my nose. Like it was going like a tube through my blood across my nose. It was very unpleasant. But when I was done with the dialysis, I felt significantly better. Even an 1.5 hours, just an 1.5 hours. My normal dialysis is 3.5 hours. But I felt somewhat better. And when I went back down to my room, I took a sip of water. And it actually didn't taste like dirt. It tasted like water. And I'm like, oh, okay. This is a reason to be doing this. Now, the problem with him doing an 1.5 hours of me on dialysis was that my kidney biopsy got moved to Tuesday instead of Monday. That now meant I was going to have to be in the hospital potentially on that Friday night. And you know what my previous Friday night was like. And I was telling everybody, I got to be out of this hospital on Friday. Got to be out of this hospital on Friday. Got to be out of this hospital on Friday. They heard me loud and clear. And they tried to make it happen. And you'll find out why it didn't soon. But so I came out of dialysis, and my taste buds started to be a little bit more normal. At this point, I was only drinking water and ginger ale, and I could barely eat anything, and it was almost always something like Frosted Flakes, which tasted almost normal, but not quite. And that was just for me to have food in my stomach when I was taking medication, antibiotics. But that was pretty much Sunday. I was not in bad spirits anymore. Junior was again my day shift nurse. Alana was not my nurse. I'm trying to remember who my CNA was that day, but I can't find it. But it was not Alana. It was somebody else, and it was whoever the person was fine. So nothing eventful happened on Sunday, and Kara was staying with me most of the time from that point forward to make sure I didn't have any kind of other incidents like what Saturday morning was like, where it was really bad and really dark. Getting back to dialysis, when the blood resettled, it was causing some funny back pain, and it just felt kind of weird, the blood sloshing around in me as it was finally resettling after everything was done. But other than that, it was uneventful. So on Monday, I go in for the second hour-and-a-half dialysis session, again, uneventful. And by then, I'm feeling significantly better because they are really cleaning creatinine out of my blood. It's not down to a good level, but it's down to a level where my mouth is starting to taste cleaner. The dirt taste is not there as much. And water tastes like water. And that's a huge victory. And that meant that I could start eating a little bit more. But once again, all I was eating was Frosted Flakes. I ate Cheerios a couple of days. But Frosted Flakes seemed to be the best thing for me to eat. And they also were giving me vanilla pudding, which I was able to eat and tolerate. So I had the second dialysis on Monday, hour and a half. Come out of the dialysis, ready for my kidney biopsy. And during that, they also gave me a blood transfusion. I don't remember exactly when the transfusion happened, but they took blood from me during the temporary catheter placement surgery to, I guess, type me and be able to have me have blood transfusion during dialysis to get my hemoglobin up and to reduce the risk of bleeding, as Dr. Murphy-Dureski said, even though there is no bleed risk in my family at all. He just wanted my blood to be cleaner, and because of my Saturday night, I was very amenable to getting the dialysis. I still didn't like Dr. Murphy-Dureski. I remember asking him on Sunday about dialysis, have you ever had dialysis? He's like, me? Dialysis? No. And the judgment in his eyes of how he said that was just dripping. Like I had done something to cause this. And that was what really just made me not like him, was his judgment over something where I got struck by lightning. I am completely healthy otherwise. All my scans are basically normal, other than what I'm going through with multiple myeloma, kidney. So my suggestion to him is work on his bedside manner. Make sure that you're tuned in and checked in. And then when somebody says, why are you working off of old information, that you don't dismiss it like it's nothing. Because you're going to get a patient to tune out everything you say and not want to hear anything you have to say. And you just didn't seem like you wanted to be there on that weekend, Saturday and Sunday. But you were, and I had to deal with you. And you made my stay actively worse. But other than that, Monday, again, Junior was my nurse. During the day shift, I do not remember who my nurse was on Monday night. I think it was Megan, who was great. But I can't remember for sure if it was Megan. So Tuesday is my kidney biopsy. This is another procedure where a mistake could happen. Remember, I'm on guard against mistakes.